I scorched the earth with these hot lines for the millionth time. Fire and brimstone erupting from the microphone. I steal the show and like a thief.
We're thrilled to have Effie James back in the studio. F was under the weather last week, but Hayden and Zach filled in admirably. Still, it's good to have the band back together. Effie, welcome back.
Great to be back. I'm not all that keen on putting people down, but let's just say an establishment had a bad day. An eatery had a bad day last week.
Got a bad batch.
I was a victim, but that's all right. We're back together, and it's great to be back.
No names.
No names.
I went through the same thing, Effie, just recently here. It's okay.
Guys, don't look now, but it's week 8 of the high school football season already, and nothing has been decided yet in terms of conference championships. This is that's what makes these last few weeks super exciting. I mean, every conference in the area, that's going to come down to the final couple weeks here.
It's fun. First of all, weren't we just in week 1
I know.
yesterday? I mean, we were just sitting here yesterday, week 1, but it has been fun. It has been fast, and here we are already with teams trying to jockey for a position where they're going to be in the postseason, and it's great to see some teams really setting themselves apart. This is a great time of year.
Yeah, for those who don't follow this stuff quite as closely as the guys in this room do, we'll run down through it. In the Ohio Cardinal Conference, Lexington and Ashland are both unbeaten. It seems like they're on a collision course for Week 10. It was kind of a similar situation last year. It was at Ashland last year, and Lex had one conference loss last year, and Ashland was unbeaten. Had Lex won that game, they just shared it. Ashland won it, so Ashland won the conference, and they're both very good. They're headed that direction again. In the Mid-Ohio Athletic Conference, Shelby kind of took the driver's seat last week. They put it on Clearfork pretty good. And Hayden, can you envision a scenario where Shelby is not hoisting the MOAC trophy here in a few weeks?
I just can't this year. Just looking at what they have left the rest of the year for them, we talked about it a little bit. They have Ontario, who is going through some growing pains this year. Still never an easy game, but then you've got both Marion Pleasant, Marion Harding to round out your year, which, coaches have said it all the time. Any game in that conference could be won by either team any night. You always got to remember that, not look too far ahead. But no, it just seems like they're in a league of their own this year.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some great games with Ontario. Last 3 games against Ontario have all been great games, including that regional semifinal game last year at Arlen Field that people are still talking about around here. But yeah, that Shelby team looks like they are ticketed for some big things here in the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting this year with changes, just to see if that affects the way that they perform or the way they tackle things, but time will tell.
Yeah. Turning our attention to the South a little bit, Centerbrook took control of the Knox-Morrow Athletic Conference Championship chase last week. They put it on Mount Gilead 46-0. That was a previously unbeaten Mount Gilead team. Centerbrook is at Danville this week. It's never an easy place to play. But the one everyone in Knox County is kind of looking ahead to is that Freddieburg game in Week 10, and we talked about it when we had Jackson Ballinger in here a few years ago, or a few weeks ago.
Feels like a few years ago.
Yeah, it seems like a few years now. But I mean that in addition to a really cool trophy, Fredericktown and Centerburg have a pretty good rivalry there.
Yeah, they do, and it's always fun to see these rivalry games. We talked about it when he was in here, just how that trophy came to be. You've seen some different versions of that with other teams too. But, yeah, I mean, it's always great to have meaningful football this late in the season.
Right. Also in Knox County, our guest last week, Mason Richards led Mount Vernon to a 28-27 win over a pretty good Watkins Memorial team with a couple of big-time recruits. If you didn't see how that ended, it was crazy. Richards I think he rushed for 193 yards. He threw a touchdown. He scored a touchdown. But and I saw a video of it. Mount Vernon scored its winning touchdown. There was a fumble, and an offensive lineman named Nolan White scooped it up and went 10 yards for what proved to be the game winner. And Nolan's listed at 6'3" and 290, and Hayden as a former offensive lineman. That's living the dream right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about that happened last week in Shelby's game too. Another guest on our show, Carter Kessler, forced a fumble. Now he didn't get to pick it up, but his teammate Sam Gwirtz took it back. Those are both guys that aren't used to. Well, Carter sometimes on offense, but that's a dream on defense to be able to do that.
Mount Vernon is they're 5-2, and they're tied atop the Licking County League's Buckeye Division standings with Licking Valley. Yellow Jackets host Licking Heights this week. Two different schools, two very different situations. Licking Valley is undefeated. Licking Heights is one. Mount Vernon's probably going to win this week, barring some unforeseen catastrophe, and then they're going to have Licking Valley and Granville in the final 2 weeks. You're going to have to win 2 of those 3 to go to the playoffs. It's going to probably come down to week 10. Is what it looks like down there. And that brings us to the Firelands Conference, and there's kind of a log jam at the top there. Monroeville and Crestview are both 4-0 in the FC. Western Reserve is a game back at 3-1. Crestview is coming off a 30-21 win over longtime nemesis St. Paul. They travel to Western Reserve this week. The Cougars are in search of their first Firelands Conference championship since winning 3 straight from 2020 to 2022. And we're joined in studio by the quarterback of those Crestview Cougars. He's a senior and a 3-year starter. He's Liam Kuhn. And Liam, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We got a whole bunch of stuff we want to get to, but before we do that, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Graham Auto Mall. Whether you're looking for a new ride or keeping your current one in top shape, Graham Auto Mall has you covered. Shop a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles or trust their expert service team to keep you on the road. If you're in the market for a vehicle, stop by Graham at 1515 West 4th Street in Mansfield or visit GrahamAutomall.com. Graham Auto Mall, your hometown dealer. Now, F, and we talked a little bit about this before, if anyone was built to be the quarterback at Crestview High School, it's Liam. He's the 3rd consecutive brother to play the position out there. Nobody has taken a meaningful snap at Crestview not named Kuhn since 2018, and we talked a little bit about that, and that's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Well, and not only is that, at first I thought it was a joke at first when I was being told that, but it's really outstanding. But when I watch, Liam play, I'm like, well, I don't think I would want anybody else besides Kuhn playing, but it's a great honor, and I'm sure the family is. I can't imagine what family conversations are like about Crestview football and the quarterback play. What is there like? I wonder, is there added pressure? Just knowing that, and I know it's on a different level, but I used to imagine being a part of like Manning family and things like that. It's one thing to all play football, but to all be quarterbacks. What's it like? Just being a part of a quarterback-rich family that all went to the same school and played that position?
I mean, there's always a lot of added pressure because, like, you got to be like, oh, my brothers did this, my brothers did that, but you just got to, like, put it to the side and, like, try to make a name for yourself, not, like, listen to everyone like, oh, you're not as good as your brothers or all that. You just got to be like, well, I'm not them. I'm here to make a name for myself.
Right.
And cool. Ross, your oldest brother, he was the quarterback in 2019 and 2020. Those teams were 15-7. Both teams made playoffs. Hayden was the starter in 2021 and 22. Those teams were a combined 24-2. Both of those teams won conference championships and reached the regional semifinals. I mean, when you talk to those guys, what kind of advice do they have for you? What have you learned from those guys?
I've learned a lot. Like, they've taught me, like, how to read a defense, like, what to do, like, when you're in situations like crunch time and, like, where the ball needs to go in that. And, like, sometimes you got to use your feet. Sometimes you just got to throw it away. And, like, they've helped, like, develop the game that I play with, like, how I throw it and, like, what I do, the decisions I make. And, like, it's been great. Like, their help has helped me tremendously.
Now, they are both in college, and we'll get to all that here in a little bit. But, I mean, do they get a chance to see you play very often? Do they get home very often?
Ross, not as much. He tunes in on OH Report to watch. But Hayden, he came to the St. Paul game, and he came to the Keystone game. And there's always, like, this, like, little brotherly love. Like, oh, you played good, but still, like, you are, like, you didn't do the best. Like, he's just, like, just giving me some, like, tough love there.
Yeah, that's brothers, right? That's
how
it works.
Oh, that's cool. That is exactly how it works. But in my experience, it's always the youngest brother that seems to reap all the benefits, gets all the great experience. And, one thing I was impressed by, especially this week with, the great game you had Friday, was there was a couple fourth down passes that you had that was just like, touchdown passes. And I'm thinking, I was so impressed with your poise. And, and I know when you talk about the experience that you had as a quarterback, and I'm thinking, you had a fourth down touchdown throw, I think at the end of the second quarter, I believe, possibly. And then the fourth down, it was fourth down, I believe, at the end of the game that you threw, I believe. Was that third down or? It
was fourth down in the first quarter.
In the first quarter, okay. And I'm thinking, here's a young man that has so much poise that doesn't feel like he's playing under any kind of pressure. There's a team that has really played well against Crestview over the years, and I'm watching you play the game like, it's nothing. And on top of all that, he gets a defensive pick, and he's out there playing the game on another level. So do you ever feel like you're playing the game? Has the game become easier to you over the years? And, can you just talk a little bit about how your experiences have allowed the game to become, or at least it seems like it's becoming easier to you? Do you feel that way?
Oh, most definitely. Like my sophomore year, the game was like super fast and all that. I was like trying to just like get the ball out, like all this, like to like maybe one guy not reading the defense that well. And then last year it like kind of slowed down, but it still was like fast and like all that. But this year I felt like I've been the most calm I've ever been, and I've been able to read the field, read the defense, and like make those plays that.
Yeah. Are you more similar to one of your brothers than the other? I mean, what's your game more patterned after, I guess? Is it one or the other, or you take the best parts of both of them?
I think we all have like different games. Like Ross, he was like, he could run and pass. He had a great arm and all that. Hayden was more like your passer. He was very accurate and all that. And like, I can run when needed and I can make throws, but like we all like have our different unique styles.
Right. If following in your brother's footsteps isn't enough, Dad, Tim, who's the athletic director at Crestview, was also a record-setting quarterback for the Cougars in the mid '90s. I'm wondering, I mean, what's Thanksgiving dinner like? How competitive is it at the Kuhn house?
Oh, it's like really competitive. He helps tremendously. Yeah. I mean, we get home and after that game, just got back on OH Report, watched the game live again, and he told me like stuff I could have done better in that, and then also how some plays were just tremendous and really good, and he just helps a ton. He's helped from since we were kids all the way up to now.
Right, and he delivered some interesting news to you, I guess, this past week. You become the career passing leader at Crestview, I think surpassing both brothers. I don't know if they were first and second. I don't know what it was exactly, but you're up over 35. I think right around 3,500 passing yards. Been over 1,000 the last 3 years. What's that mean to you? Has that set in yet?
I mean, it means a lot. It feels great. Having the trust, your coaches, letting you pass the ball when you're known for, a run-heavy offense. Right. It's, it feels amazing. Right.
And it's a kind of a change in philosophy. Crestview for years and years, going back to when I first started covering Crestview in the late 90s and early, they've always had great running backs, but it's and it's not to take anything away from what they're doing out there now, but it's a lot more balanced, it seems like now. Is that do you like the balance in the offense a little more this year?
Yeah, I like the balance because it gives teams a harder look. Normally, we just got to stop their run game. We stop their run game, then the passing game is not as much as a threat. But having a strong passing and run game this year, it keeps teams on edge. They don't know what we're going to do most of the times.
Yeah, and that's the best teams in the area, the teams that make deep playoff runs, are the teams that have that balance. Just because at some point, and Lee Owens, AU's former coach, always used to say this, but at some point somebody's going to make you play left-handed, and if you can do it, you're in a pretty good spot.
And one of the things that really impressed me about their offense, not only because they're balanced and that having the passing record is huge, because they don't just throw the ball all over. They have a balanced offense, and I watch them. I remember saying in the broadcast, they make you defend the entire field. They'll run perimeter run to one side, perimeter run to the other side. Then they'll hit you inside, in between the A gaps with a run. Then they'll run quarterback run, and then they'll throw the ball deep. They have the entire arsenal, and that's really because they have, the quarterback to do that. So, what kind of advantage do you feel like the offense that you all run, what kind of advantage does that give you against the defense? Because you guys do so many things offensively. How has that been able to give you all an advantage offensively against the teams you guys have played so far this year?
It keeps them on edge. I mean, we have so many playmakers on our offense that you can't just scheme around one person or that. You got to scheme around the whole team. You got to make sure you can stop the perimeter run, you can stop the quarterback run, right, and that you can stop the inside run, and then all of that. You got to also stop the passing game also.
Right.
Now and I'm looking at the stats here, 2 interceptions this year. Your sophomore year, you threw 10. I think last year 4. Throw it a lot more accurate with the ball, and percentage-wise, completion percentage-wise, you're completing 64% of your passes. I mean, is that something is that just the natural evolution of a veteran quarterback, or is that something you've had to kind of work on?
I've had to work on it, yeah. For sophomore year, the 10 interceptions, that was just me being, nervous, not, getting ready and all that, just, maybe picking one guy and, going after him and, throwing the ball. And then last year, unfortunately, I threw 3 in our playoff game, which didn't help. And, that was also a situation where I got a little nervous and, all that. And, this year I've had 2. And, they've been on me. I threw 2 bad balls, and they ended up picked off. But, having the experience has helped tremendously because it makes me feel more calm, and it helps me, deliver better balls and better passes and all that.
And if we've talked about it time and time again, you got to it's a process, and you got to kind of evolve through that process.
Right, and you can't get better, and you can't see the field until you make those mistakes. And one of the things that I've always done, coaching quarterbacks was, and then you always get frustrated because I would push them and force them to sometimes take chances, but then I would also hold them accountable. So I would say, no, if you see something that you want to take, and you make that choice, but then if it's wrong, you got to take accountability for it. And they would be like, well, you told me to throw it. I'm like, sorry. You know what I mean? Because sometimes in the midst of a game as a coach, I'm not playing. I can't see what you see, but that experience is going to show you. Nothing can, I can't coach experience. And I think that's what you're saying. Those interceptions showed you and show many quarterbacks that, okay, even though it looks open right now, it won't be open in 0.2 seconds from now. And that experience shows you that, and nothing else can show you but experience.
Well, and Curt, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know if you guys did this past summer, but I know traditionally the past few years, I think Crestview has participated in preseason stuff at Arlen Field.
Yeah, they come over here for 7-on-7.
And I mean, that's against some of the cream of the crop around the state. Those opportunities, how has that helped you as well? It's not a knock on any of the rest of the Firelands Conference or the teams you're seeing throughout the year, but these are teams traditionally you're not going to see, and it's some high-level talent. How have you benefited as a quarterback from that, just based off some of the stuff you've been talking about?
Oh, it's helped tremendously. I mean, those guys in the D2, D1, D3, D4 level even, they're so much, they're a lot quicker than what we see in D6, D7 and all that. They get off their ball quicker. They are quick with their decisions. I mean, we played Glenville in the 7-on-7 at Arlen Field, and I mean, that's probably the quickest I've seen DBs and linebackers and all that react to the ball. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, and that's no knock on New London or anyone else, South Central, anyone else in the Firelands Conference, but that's not Glenville, and that's not Springfield, and some of those other teams that senior high brings up here.
No, there's levels to football, and there's skill levels now, but at the same time, we have seen teams line up and say, okay, against teams like Glenville, and they'll line up in double tights and say, okay, you may be able to break on a ball that I throw, but can you line up and stop me from running double tight power I for 60 minutes?
Right.
And sometimes they can't, You know what I mean? So it balances out, and football is. That's why we love the sport of football, because it always has balance, but athleticism, man, is it's the great equalizer, because you have to be able, as a quarterback, you got to understand throwing the ball on time is everything. But that's why I appreciate the balance that Crestview has been showing this year on offense. They have weapons in the backfield and on the outside, and I think that's why they have been playing really well here these last few weeks.
Now, in addition to everything you do offensively, you've taken on a bigger role in the defense this year. I think 25 tackles, 2 interceptions, a really big interception last week, if I'm not mistaken, and We'll get to that here in a little bit. But I mean, does playing quarterback help you? As a defensive back and vice versa? Are there things, do you look at the game a little bit differently because you're playing on both sides like that?
100%. I mean, like, knowing that playing quarterback, I mean, I know looking at what the DBs are doing, I have to know, like, what they're doing, what coverages they line up in, and then transferring over to defense, I know, okay, so this is what I can show and all that, and, like, our coverage in that, and maybe help like the defense that way also, and that's how like you get the tackles and interceptions.
Right. Now you guys opened the season with perhaps the oddest of losses in the state all year. You played Seneca East. The final score was 2-0. I think Seneca East pitcher threw a 3-hit shutout. just take us through that night. What happened there?
I mean, it was a game. I mean, like, we had trouble like with some blocking and all that. It's like a normal like week 1 game. Like, you don't have all this film that you're going off of film in 7-on-7 where in like scrimmages where they're not showing everything and like all that. And they came out hot. They came out blitzing like left and right, and like we weren't like ready for that. And but we had this great defensive scheme that was allowing us, them not moving the ball, them not scoring. I believe we had 3 interceptions on that night, and we couldn't capitalize on offense in that. But there was this time like where we were driving down the field and all that, and then we go for the end zone shot, and like I threw it a little too far out in front of our tight end, and like he wasn't able to haul it in. Like it just hit off the tip of his fingers in the end zone, and that's like a drive killer in that, because I believe that was on 4th down, and then we get pinned back in our end zone and take a shotgun snap, and then you realize, he's back up a little bit, and then like you try to get out, and I just couldn't, and I got hit in the end zone. And I took the blame for that loss and everything. It wasn't Lions' fault. It wasn't anyone's fault. I should have thrown the ball away. I should have got out of the end zone.
And you got to like a quarterback who takes some ownership, and it's on me, fellas.
Right. Accountability is huge for growth in your team, and I think the team can respect that, and I would argue that no team is going to be successful without it. You know what I mean? If your quarterback comes in and he's pointing fingers at everybody else, you can't lead from that place. You can't lead from a place of making excuses, whether you're the coach or the quarterback. If your coach is saying, if you lose a game and the coach is saying, well, these players have just got to get better, and that's it. Well, you know what I mean? You're not doing a very good job. Same respect as a quarterback. If your quarterback is saying, well, we just got to block better, and that's it, then we're not leading. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're not doing the job. So from a leadership perspective, that accountability piece is huge for your team to see that. And that's why great leaders have to take that accountability, and it shows when you have great leadership, because people will follow you. Yeah.
Now, for the last couple of years, Crestview has played small school royalty in week 2. Mm-hmm. You guys played Kirtland. I think it's a 2-year contract. Anyhow, Kirtland's played in the state championship game in Division 6, I think, every year for the past, probably past 5 or 6 years in a row. Last year, I covered that game at Crestview, and it was pretty one-sided, I think it's fair to say. This year, and we talked a little bit earlier, same score, but it was not that. I mean, just how far did you guys come from the first time you played them to this year's game?
I think the first time we played them, we played scared. I mean, like, we didn't play like to the best of our ability. We're like, oh, it's Kirtland, we're gonna lose. Like, that's, I think, the mindset we went into. And then when we played them this year, we were like, okay, let's just go out there, let's have fun, let's leave everything we have on the field. And I mean, that's what we did. We came out, we stopped them on their first drive, and then we get stopped, and then they come out and score, and we're like, we just can't hang our heads. You just got to come out and punch them in the mouth and give them the best of look that you can, and that's what we did. I mean, we played our butts off, we played our hearts out, and the score says otherwise, but I know we played great as a team, and it got us a lot better playing Kirtland.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the stuff that makes you better. I mean, despite what the scoreboard says at the end. I mean, you're playing against a team that plays for a state championship every year.
No, for sure, and that's what I was going to say. I know you guys felt better, but, you know, after that game, when you think about what the locker room was like, you know, of course you're disappointed and you're losing, but, you know, not so much after the game. Maybe that following Monday at practice. What was that Monday like?
That Monday went well. I mean, like, it was like, okay, we just gotta get ready for next week. We gotta get ready for Keystone, who we had the next week, right. And that's what it was like. You put it to the side. Hey, we played good, we played better, but we gotta be better. We gotta play even more better to get the wins.
Right. And week through, you guys beat a pretty good Keystone team. I think that was a team that kind of had their way with you guys last year. I think you beat 28-14. You overcame a 14-point deficit. You haven't lost since. I mean, what's been the secret sauce here?
Just great game plan and playing our butts off. I mean, like, we go into every week like it's our last. Like, we know that we're fighting for playoff spots and that a loss can maybe push us out of the playoffs and that. So we're like trying to be like, we got to run the table here. We got to win all the rest of the games so that we can make the playoffs and hopefully make a run, because that's what we want. We want to be back in this. We want to be in the state championship. We want to face Kirtland again, and we want to show them that we're better than what we were in week 2.
Right. Now, defensively, you guys have given up 86 points all year, and if you take away the Kirtland game, you've given up 44 points in, you know, those other 6 games. I mean, just talk about the job the defense is doing, and does that kind of take some pressure off what you guys have to do offensively?
The defense, we have played great. I mean, we come in with like great game plans and that, like hoping that we can stop like the team's run or passing attack. I know in the DB room, like, we emphasize that we're not letting anyone pass the ball on us, that we're trying to take away their passing game and make them run, because our front 6 and that are like, they're studs. I mean, we have people like Jack Stevens, Bronson Rose, and Carter Goon, and like you got Branson Hyder, Keith Abshire, and Wyatt Barber at your backers, and I'm like, these guys flow to the ball great. We get big-time sacks, big-time TFLs and all that. It's important, like, just have also a balanced defense, a defense that can stop the pass and also stop the run.
Yeah, and I talked to Steve Averdale after the South Central game, and he said, you know, we can get pressure on quarterbacks without having to blitz guy. I mean, if you can create havoc in the opponent's backfield without having to send extra people, that's a good place to be. Right,
and they've got some outstanding athletes playing up front, and you know, and it's not always about getting sacks. You know, I mean, it's the pressure and taking away the timing of the other team's offense, and you know, their front is so aggressive. We talked earlier about how I felt like, you know, in the St. Paul game, they were more physical.
Right.
You know what I mean? They warmed down and they really just pressed St. Paul physically, and I thought that was the difference in the game. Of course, Crestview made more plays, but I felt like the biggest difference in the game was they were more physical, and their defensive front just pushed them around.
Yeah.
To me, and I really feel like that was the biggest difference in the game.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. It was 30-21 last week against St. Paul. It's your biggest win of the year. I think it's pretty safe to say. You threw a pair of touchdown passes. They were both on 4th down, if I'm not mistaken. You ran for a 49-yard touchdown, and then you came up with an interception that we mentioned earlier in the end zone. I mean, how's that game rank for you individually?
I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. I mean, like, I've played a lot of games, but that game I felt the most calm, the most relaxed and all that, and I think it showed with how we played and all that.
Is 49 yards a career long?
Yeah, it is. Because I'm not known for running the ball that much. I like to pass it and all that, but when I can use my legs, it feels good because I got a lot of speed from track and that. And, I mean, that felt great with them also trusting me, having me run the ball. It takes a load off our running backs and all that. It makes them be able to get breaks and all that, knowing that they don't have to just run the ball and all that.
I think last year it was 16-15. St. Paul beat you guys. I mean, they've kind of owned that rivalry, and not just against Crestview. I mean, they've kind of ruled the roost in the Firelands for years and years. I think they've won 27 conference championships. But I mean, how much motivation was a 1-point loss to that team? Did that kind of fuel the fire this whole year?
Oh, that fueled the fire. I mean, coming off a 1-point loss to them last year, we were like, okay, this can't happen again. Like, we knew we were the better team last year. We knew that we should have won last year and all that, but you know, it didn't happen, and that we had that fuel in the fire. We know, like, this game in our community, it means a lot. Like, if we can't beat St. Paul, then, like, what are we doing? Like, you have to beat St. Paul. It's like what the community, it's like a higher standard. Like, you got all these other games, but St. Paul is like a rivalry game.
That's
I mean,
the one.
That's the one. Because they've had our number in the past, like you said. Like, it was, I believe they beat us 10 times in a row, and then my brother Hayden, he was the one that knocked them off the first time, and then I was like, okay, now I want to feel that feeling because I was on the team when we beat them the second year in a row on my freshman year, and I mean, it felt good even though I didn't get to play. I mean, beating St. Paul like means a lot.
Right, and we've talked about this time and time before, but I mean, you're not playing the tradition, you're playing the team. But I've covered a lot of Mansfield senior boys basketball games over the years, and they're the 4th winningest team in state history. And you walk into the gym, and some teams are defeated before before the ball is tipped. I mean, that's and St. Paul kind of has that legacy going for them too.
Well, and I think to some degree they do, but I think like what Liam was saying, sometimes that works against you when you get a team that is like ultra motivated now to say no, not this time. And I think coming into the game and you know when I watched the game unfold, the game was back and forth, and it was not like, you know, but it really came down to who was going to make the plays. And you know, like I said before, Crestview was a more physical team, but this wasn't like St. Paul's a little down, and no, this was your traditional St. Paul team that is generally good, and you know, Crestview played better and won the game. So really, it comes down to I tell teams all the time, when you're playing a traditional power or a team with a lot of history and tradition of winning, who cares who's a better team? Who can play the better game that night? Right. Can you execute that night for 4 quarters? And that is what I was most impressed by, specifically with Liam, because, you know, and I think if I remember right, I know he threw for just under 200 yards. He rushed for a touchdown. He had a pick for, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, here's a young man who told himself, we're not losing
not tonight.
Tonight. I don't care what's going to happen. We're not losing tonight, and that says a lot. That says a lot.
Now that brings us to this week. You guys Crestview is at Western Reserve, another big game in conference play, and it's a little different situation. You guys have beaten Western 5 times in a row, I think 8 out of 9. Is there a different mindset that you go into this game with that compared to? I mean, it's probably a little different being the hunted instead of the hunter, I guess.
No, I mean, we treat it like any other week. We're like, okay, this team's we have a target on our back, but, like, again, like, this is a good football team. We have to bring our best, and they're going to bring their best. Like, it's like you got to show up Friday night. Like, whoever comes out and is more physical in that is going to be the team on top.
And then the following week, it's Monroeville. So in consecutive weeks, it was St. Paul, Western, Monroeville, and that's that's a Firelands Conference gauntlet right there. I mean, I'm sure you knew what was waiting for you the minute you saw the schedule. I mean, how every one of those games is circled on the calendar, right?
Most definitely. Like, St. Paul was definitely circled, Western's definitely circled, and Monroeville especially, because I haven't got it done the past 2 years against Monroeville. I was lucky. Like, they're a good football team. They're coached well and all that, but it's, again, like, whoever is more physical is the team that's going to come out on top.
Now, Crestview has qualified for the playoffs, I think, 6 straight years, dating back to 2019. That was Steve Haverdale's first year. You guys haven't won a playoff game here in a couple years. I mean, what's it going to take, I guess, to kind of to not just qualify, but to kind of get over the hump and to win in the postseason?
What's it going to take? It's going to take a lot of focus and physicality. I mean, like, you got to be physical, you got to be focused. Like, if you're not mentally focused and you're just going to go like, okay, it's another game, it's another week, and you're like not there mentally, and then you come out sluggish, you get behind, and then you got to play catch up. It's like, that's not good. You want to come out, you want to punch the team in the mouth, you want to get up on them first, you want to make them feel like, okay, you want to make them feel like they're panicking, and that's where you get those wins and you get that playoff berth.
Yeah. Now you guys, the way the region's set up this year, you guys were in Region 22 last year, which was primarily through Northwest Ohio, and small school football in Northwest Ohio is a monster. I mean, there's a lot of small schools and a lot of really good schools up there. That's not to say that you guys moved to Region 23 this year, which kind of stretches from where you guys are through Southeast Ohio. It seems a little bit more navigable. I mean, do you guys pay attention to that sort of stuff, or is that just something that guys like I do?
I really haven't paid much attention to it this year. I know some guys on our team have, but like, it's like, okay, who are we gonna play? Like, that's the mindset I go into it. Like, what team we gonna face? Like, I gotta prep for this. I gotta watch this film. I gotta watch that game, and like, I gotta know what the defense they run. So that's how I take it. I don't care who we play. Give me Kirtland. Give me anyone.
Sure.
I'm gonna go into that game and give it my all.
Right. Now, when you're not playing football, you are one of the best small school pole folders in the state of Ohio. People might not know that. You finished 4th at state tournament last year. You cleared 15-6. You were 4th as a sophomore. You were 6th as a freshman. I mean, for those of you who don't, follow it very closely, and for those of us who never did it, I mean, what's it like to launch yourself 15 feet in the air and then basically fall blind out of a 2-story window?
I mean, to me, it's fun. I mean, like, I thought, I think it's pretty fun. Like, going into my junior high years, like 7th and 8th grade, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna give this a shot, see if I like it. If not, I'll play baseball, because that's what I was like, toggling between baseball and track.
Sure.
And then I made a deal with one of our former vaulters, Sean Bailey, that if I made it to the state meet in 8th grade, I would do track in high school. And, well, he helped me get to the state meet in 8th grade, and that ended up me being one of the best decisions of my life, because I fell in love with pole vault. I ended up clearing, I got 14.2 freshman year, 14.8, and then I ended with a personal best of 15.8 last year. And it's like something I want to do in college and all that, and it's been fun.
So that's how you got your start, was in middle school. It wasn't, you weren't like a vaulting prodigy as a little kid. I don't even know if little kids do that.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Well, I mean, and you said, you kind of fell in love with it the first time you tried it?
Yeah, it just gave me a thrill. I mean, I think it's so cool that you get to fling. Basically, it's like flying. You get to just fling yourself up in the air, and knowing you're gonna either land on a mat or it's sometimes scary, because you got some of the you got sometimes I've not landed on the mat. I've gone off towards the turf or the gravel, that wherever we're vaulting the grass and all that. But to me, it's like a wow factor. It's a thrill. I just love doing it.
I guess if you get bucked off, you got to get right back on. But that'd be terrifying if you didn't come down on the mat. And I covered you at the Mihawk and at the state meet. I mean, vaulters always show up with several different poles, and I've never quite understood all that. What's the deal with that?
All right, so you have all these poles for your different runs or approach. So I have a pole for my 3 and 4 step. It's just the approach you have.
Okay.
You get the smaller poles in that for your shorter runs, and then you grow into your bigger poles in that for your longer runs. I mean, I ended up on 16-foot poles for my long approach and all that. 15, 6, and 16-foot poles was the most I had, but other than that, I had 14.7s or for my short. Like, you have to have a pull for, and like then you have weight and flexes. You have to have a pull for each amount of weight and flex, because if it gets a little too soft, you're not going to be able to clear that bar. Just like this tiny little amount of stiffness and like more weight can help you get over the bar in that.
It's a lot more science than I was expecting, Coach. I mean, it's
I'm amazed.
And you always see like vaulters at the state tournament. You call out a number, and they move the standards. Is that right? Tell me about that too, because that's all lost on me.
It's also like a science, because now you have to be like, okay, where are you landing on the pit and that? So if you're like too shallow in that, the closest you can bring them is 18 and all that. Now if you're like just blowing through the pole in that, then you can bury them, which is 31.5, and then you have to like find out, okay, what's in between when you're like in the middle or like a little bit shallow. So like there's a lot that goes into pole vault.
I mean, is it just all trial and error? I mean, how do you come up with where you want them and what pole you're using? And I mean, it's just a matter of doing it over and over.
Yeah, it is trial and error. Like sometimes you're like, okay, is your run off? Because that can affect, like if your run's off and you're like slow, then you're going to be a little shallower. If you're like hitting your points and that, then sometimes the poles can just be too small. But like that's why you just have so many poles. Like you have to have a pole for any circumstance.
Right.
How much is it about athleticism, truly, when it comes? I mean, I know you have to be an athlete. I get that, but how much is it about athleticism over skill when you're looking at pole vaulting?
Oh, you have to be an athlete too. Like I mean, you gotta be fast. Like like no offense to like anyone who's like not the quickest, but like you gotta be somewhat fast to pole vault, because bringing the speed and like takeoff is also very important, because if you're not fast, then you can't get on like you can't move these bigger poles and that.
Right.
And I'm blessed with being also tall, so I can get on like all these bigger poles and that. But yeah, you gotta be fast, because the world record holder, he runs like a 10.2 100, and he jumps 20 feet in the air. So.
Well, and as someone who is also tall, but definitely not blessed with being fast, I mean, I like that you touch on it, because track is one of those where, I mean, it just comes down to inches and ounces and centimeters. And I mean, when you have looked at your body of work from your freshman year to what you just, recently cleared at the state meet last year, it might not sound like a lot to people who don't religiously follow track, but I mean, to increase your height by a foot or more, what little things are you working on to do that? I mean, I think you've kind of touched on it, probably speed and approach, but I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. What little things are you working on to constantly get higher?
Technique, like your swing, your top end, and like even like the takeoff. There's so much that goes into pole vault and all that. It makes it that much harder. Like you gotta have all these things have to align, and if they don't, then it's not going to be a good day. It's not going to be a good meet. Like all these circumstances have to align for the vaulter to have a good day.
Now, I mean, I don't know what the situation is. I mean, you go to train at, is it Altitude in Bellevue? I mean, these are guys who are focused strictly on the pole vault. I mean, how important is that training you're getting there?
So I used to go to Altitude headquarters, but now for the past three years I've gone to Buckeye Pole Vault Academy in Sunbury.
Okay.
And I mean, they know a lot. I mean, this is all they do. Like my coach he was a 16-foot jumper. My other coach was like, he was a 15-foot jump, 15, like high 15s jumper. I mean, they know everything. Like they can tell what's off even if they're not watching. They can just like listen, like your steps on the runway. And they're like, okay, you were under, you were out. And then like they help me also with like technique and all that. I mean, it's great to have.
And you mentioned what? I think you're listed at 6'5". Is that about accurate? I mean, 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, 6'4", 6'5". That's
what's the traditional pole vaulter's body look? I mean, are you kind of a unicorn in the pole vaulting world, or I mean, are they all 6'5" and skinny, or how's that look like?
No, I think like the average height for pole vaulters is anywhere from like 6 foot to 6'1". I mean, or like in like 5'10". I mean, like not. I'm blessed with height. I mean, like being tall and like lengthy is like also helped me so much, because it allows me to get on like the bigger poles, like I said, because I can move them so much more like quickly than someone that is like 5'10", 6 foot.
Right. We talked a little bit about Sean Bailey was a senior when you were a freshman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You guys both qualified for the state meet that year. Now Sean is your pole vaulting coach at Crestview, right?
Yeah, he helped me. He's helped me ever since I was in middle school. I mean, he's been such a great help, and I'm like, oh, he's such a great coach and all that. He's helped me like build these relationships with the coaches that I know now. Like, he took me down to Buckeye freshman year, and I'm like, I just fell in love with the place. I'm like, I give all the credit to him and all of the coaches that have helped me along the way, because they brought the love to the sport that I have.
Right. That's a pretty unusual dynamic when you're in school with the guy, and then he's helping coach you here in a couple of years. That's interesting.
And I'm interested to know, like, forget the quarterback stuff. I want to know more about.
I know.
No, seriously, it's a unique. Obviously, like you said, it's a unique skill set that you have to have. The passion that you have for it. We generally ask young players, like, did they have? Usually, we ask them about basketball and football, and what came first. Did they feel like they fell in love with basketball or football? Do you feel like you were a track athlete that started playing football? Did you have a love for football first? What came first for you?
Definitely the love for football. I mean, I've loved football ever since I was a little kid, because like I can remember playing football with my brothers in the backyard. Like, we were playing basically tackle football, and my dad would throw us the ball. Like, it was him at quarterback, us at receiver, and like DBs, and we were just playing tackle football in the backyard when we grew up. And then coming into middle school, that's when I found my love for track, and then it just like took over. I mean, I love football and track, but like there's the fact that like I love track a little bit more than I do football, but I almost love them equally.
That's cool.
And you're a guy who probably going to compete collegiately in the pole vault. I mean, are there certain schools that are? I mean, who are you hearing from? First of all, are there schools that are talking to you?
So Ashland has been talking to me, and I really love that school. And then I have a visit to Hillsdale College where Ross goes
right.
On October 19th, and then I think after that is when I'll probably make a decision like of where I'm going to go.
Right. And we didn't even get into all that. Ross he was a state champion in the 800-meter dash at Crestview. He is an All-American at Hillsdale College in Michigan, and is he running 800 still, or no? It's 15.
Yeah, he runs the 1500.
And then Hayden he qualified for the NCAA Division II wrestling tournament as a 149 pounder at AU. So those are some big shoes to fill. Now, are there schools that are? Certain schools are better for college football. Are there certain schools that are better for pole vault? I mean, how's that? What's that look like?
It all depends, like, on the coaching and
Okay.
all that. Like, if the coach is like willing to give you the time and effort, I think is like that's where it's like. And AU has a great coach in
Right.
Denny Steele. I mean, he's been helping pole vault for I don't even know how long. Like, it's been a while. Like, he helped Katie Moon,
Right.
Who's an Olympic
Champion.
He coached her up. He coached one of my coaches up, her brother Andy.
Okay.
And I mean, it just all depends, like the coach and all that. I mean, and like the facility and like all the poles you're gonna get. I mean, it's just that's what it comes down to, like facility, coaching, and like all that.
Yeah. Now it seems like, and maybe you know better than me, but I mean, and at Division I colleges, football scholarships are full rides. What do track scholarships look like at the collegiate level? I mean, are there full rides, or is the money split up among a bunch of athletes?
The money is like split up. I know like that you got football. Like, yeah, football gets quite a bit, but then you have like track. The money like is like almost like performance is like what I've understand is what I've been told. Like, if I jump higher and all that, I can get more money is what I've been told and all that.
Okay. Now I looked it up. The pole vault world record is 20 feet 8 inches. I think it was set last month in Tokyo. Can you envision a time when you're going 5 feet higher than you are now?
I mean, that's the dream. I'm like vaulting 20 feet is insane. Like the world record holder has been vaulting, I believe, since he was 4.
Oh, wow.
Like he was born into a pole vaulting family. Like his father is a former pole vaulter, and he just like got his kid in the sport. And I mean, he's also tall, but he is blessed with speed. I mean, like I said, he runs a 10-2 100, and it's just so cool watching him. Like his technique is also, because it's like a guy you look up to when you're a pole vaulter. Like he is so good at what he does.
Yeah. Is there a path? Can you see a path to get from where you are now to there?
A lot of training.
Yeah.
I mean, like you just have to have a lot of training to get there.
Well, good. I think that's gonna wrap it up here. Now it's time for the 2-minute drill. We'll just throw a bunch of questions at you. Just answer them as quick as you can. We're gonna come in hot. Who's the best athlete in the Kuhn family?
Yeah.
I would have to say Hayden.
Okay. Who's the best quarterback?
Hayden.
Now, Crestview has won 3 straight, they won 3 straight Firelands Conference championships in 2021 and 22. Do you know how many football championships the Cougars have won in the Firelands Conference?
No, I don't.
It is 7. It's I think before that there's been a couple under. I think there was one under Sean Conway maybe, and Mark Solis before that. But yeah, how about this one? And I think you might have a pretty good feel for this. How many consecutive boys track championships has Crestview won?
I think it's like 8.
No, 5 in a row. 5. And is Dad the head coach? Is that right?
Yeah, Dad is the head coach.
Oh, he's gonna be upset now, buddy. The Firelands Conference is one of the most stable conferences in the state. It's been the same since 1982. Do you know who the last school who joined the Firelands Conference?
Was it Crestview?
It was the Crestview Cougars, along with Plymouth. Edison left in 1986. Black River left in 1993, and since then it has remained unchanged, and that's almost unheard of in this day and age. The Crestview School District kind of sits in Richland and Ashland County. Do you guys consider yourself more of a Richland County school or an Ashland County school?
I think we're like equally both. I mean, we got a lot of people from like Ashland County, but like we got a lot of people from Richland County I know of.
Yeah, and it's kind of because the building is in Richland County, so we've always kind of identified. As far as I was concerned, they've always identified here. But if you look at what the OHSA does, they call them Ashland Crestview, so it's always kind of that's the one school in the area that we kind of double up on. Okay, last one. Legend has it, and I don't know how familiar are you with this since it's the spooky season and this was a hit last week. There's a haunted tunnel not far from Crestview High School. Have you ever been there?
No.
Never been there. It's
No.
It's just off of 42 in Ashland County, and from what I'm told, the spirits will move your car if you put it in neutral. And Zach, that sounds like something that's we could definitely investigate here.
We could,
Yeah.
allegedly, yeah.
Well, that's
maybe don't do that though.
Don't do that.
You got a future ahead of you.
Right. Well, good. That's gonna wrap it up here. We certainly appreciate Liam for coming down and joining us, and best of luck to you this week. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.